flowers gold will softly sway to reunite the lost and lead us on our way. The glow of soul will light my face. The river's current flows inside each act of grace. Walk the garden, breathe the scent of life. Take this moment just to feel comfort in my tiny paradise, a place for lonely hearts to heal. And when forever comes to be, will I remain inside a little light of empathy to keep you unified, keep me inside. The warmest smile, a waiting hand, a friend to free your heart and help you understand. Through life and loss, through thick and thin, we'll help each other face the pain that we are in. Eyes of greed are ever watching me. Lonely rooms and broken time. Plots and plans to pluck the petals free, to drain them of their golden shine. And when forever comes to be, will I remain inside a little light of empathy to keep you unified, keep me inside. When I learn of the loss that defines me, can I hold to the promise that binds me and carry on into tomorrow's sorrow? When I'm facing the ghosts of my destiny, will I turn or remain in the memory and choose to stray or choose to follow? And when forever comes to be, will I remain inside a little light of empathy to keep you unified, keep me inside.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to another stream. Hello, I am Andrew, also known as Tanatos in the internet, and this is my art stream where I get online and paint minis on stream. Today I'm not painting. Today it's Friday the 9th of July 2021, and I am starting work on a new project. I have talked about this several times in the last month or so. My desire to do something new, and this is finally it. I am going to assemble and paint the core set for Marvel Crisis Protocol. This is, as you can see, the Abington Store demo copy of Crisis Protocol. This is a Marvel miniatures game that has minis that you assemble and paint, if you so desire. And I wanted a store demo copy for the store so that people can come in and learn to play when sort of the power gamers are not there with their copies. So, what have we got in the box? We have rules, which also have at the back end assembly instructions for a great number of minis. That's what we're going to be working on today. We have a whole bunch of different tokens. I'll punch those out later. We have cards. Very cool mechanic that this game has. Basically, as your characters take damage, if they're ever in critical condition, the card flips over and they get the sort of critical abilities that they have when their character is stressed. So that's cool. I've got a whole bunch of Crisis Protocol dice. And I have bags and bags full of sprues, a bunch of scenic bases, more sprues, and more cards. It looks like these are scenarios and abilities, stuff like that. We'll leave those in the box. All right. So today is all about assembling as many of these as I can get done in a single day. We'll see how many that ends up being. It's a whole new world. You're absolutely right, Lobster of Revenge. So this is not even a Games Workshop game. Obviously, it's similar in that it's got minis on sprues that you paint and assemble, and that's why it's a good fit for this stream. But it is produced by Atomic Mass Games for Asmodee. It has the look and feel of a Fantasy Flight game, which is to say that it has the large empty box with nothing to put anything in. It doesn't have the tiny little Fantasy Flight cards. It has normal-sized cards. But it has many of the things that I have come to associate with Fantasy Flight minigames. In fact, Atomic Mass Games is taking over production of Fantasy Flight's Star Wars Legion, which is another miniature game set in the Star Wars universe. So they're very similar companies and somehow interconnected. I don't know if they're rivals. They both sell through the same distributor. I don't know. I haven't looked it up to see exactly what's going on there, but they're similar companies with similar production facilities, similar aesthetic. But this is Atomic Mass Games and not Fantasy Flight, for whatever that's worth. Let us look at some of the minis. So it looks like we've got these sprues here and here. I don't know if they're separated out by character. I can see Captain America's shield here, so clearly I have Captain America. I see a long black cloak, which I suspect is Red Skull. This one here, I see, I don't know who that is. Well, we'll find out. There's Iron Man. Definitely Iron Man. My goal is to assemble a bunch of these today, and then over the weekend I will prime them, and then we'll be ready to paint on Monday, and we'll start work painting. There's also several bags full of terrain, which I probably will not attack today. Looks like we've got a car, and we've got some shipping containers. I see a trash can, lamp posts, various terrain for people to throw at each other. But let's start by getting out all these sprues that belong to characters. This character has 8 little bendy arms. Who could that be? That's Doc Ock right there. So for painting style, I know I spent most of this week working on painting things in a cartoonish manner. I think I'm going to go for a less cartoonish look for these folks as I paint them. I'm going to aim... Are these sprues numbered or anything? Alright, the individual sprues are not numbered, but the pieces are numbered. So that gives me something to go on when constructing. I'm just going to open all these baggies full of sprues, take out all these little folks, and we're going to get started constructing some people. So I was saying, for painting style, I'm going to go for a more realistic style, but using the paint schemes that are familiar from the comic books. So we're not going to do a cartoonish look, I think. I'm going to do them as if they were Warhammer minis in terms of how I paint them, but using the aesthetic of the comics. Very much these are the comic book versions of these characters and not so much the MCU cinematic versions. Get the right arms on the right characters? I don't know, I could just mix and match, right? Build a bunch of random things. I could just ignore the instructions and just build things completely randomly. Alright, already I see that this is going to be a little more irritating than I thought it was going to be. Yes, Blockbuster coffee today. Excellent, excellent. I don't even know. So already I'm going to go over to Zoom Cam here, folks. Here we have a tray full of sprues, and here we have the instructions. It's kind of washed out and glossy, but here we go. You will note, chat, that these instructions, although the sprues have numbers listed on the individual pieces, the instructions do not reference those numbers. That's a little weird. Why would you do that to me? Luckily, they're iconic characters and easily recognizable, so hopefully I can find... We're going to start with Captain Marvel here. So, this is clearly Captain America. Here's his shield. This, I think that's Captain Marvel, because that's her belt, and that's her head. So, we found Captain Marvel. Excellent. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Okay. This fellow here, probably Taskmaster. I don't know. Put that aside for later. Maybe it's Baron Zemo? Oh no, okay, this is Crossbones. It's Crossbones. See, there's his head, but he's got a little skull that goes on the front of the head. So, crossbones. That's Baron Zemo. That's Spidey. That's Iron Man. That's Black Widow. That's Red Skull. That's Doc Ock. And that's Ultron. Okay, we found everybody. We're just going to go in the order they are in the book. So we're going to start here with Captain Marvel. It's a little washed out. I'm going to try. It's a little better. I need a white background. Give me a sec here. Just gray on black is not a good contrast for you folks who are watching. There we go. I think that'll work. Okay. So, step 1, glue torso to torso. So I have been building a ton of minis over the last couple of weeks at the store. Because I have been constructing the Age of Sigmar Dominion box, which is the new Age of Sigmar 3.0 intro box. And it's an enormous set. I thought it had about 40 minis in it. It has closer to 60. Like, I built an army of 20 just on Saturday alone. So that was a massive project that took me a long, long time. But the reason I bring it up is, it means I've been spending a lot of time working on minis and working on my construction skills. So basically, there's a few steps to this process. First, obviously, you snoop the little bit off of the sprue, and then you have to take these connective tissue bits that are where the sprue was connected to the mini and trim those off, hopefully without trimming too much of the mini itself. But you want some nice clean edges. There's that, and here. There we go. And then I like to sort of go around the outside edge and see if there's any flash that needs trimming. Games Workshop has exceptional quality control in the production of their minis, and there's usually not much flash or, bleeding on the edges, but I can see a little bit here. Not much at all, but we want to sort of trim that off if we spot it. That looks good. But you definitely want to get rid of that before you start priming anything or assembling anything. Having been working with the GW minis for the past couple of weeks, I can tell this is a different grade of plastic. It feels different. I want to trim this without ruining the sculpt here. One thing that happens at the store very frequently when people are opening new boxes is there's a whole lot of sprue dust The store usually needs to be vacuumed after somebody has been constructing minis. There's a lot of these little sprue bits that end up all around the table that the person's been working at. And I don't blame them, because these little bits fly everywhere when you're trimming. Yeah, there's a little bit of flash at some of the thinner parts of the model. I often wonder what the quality control process is. How do they check to see if stuff is coming out of the mold improperly? Like, do they have some sort of OCR technology? Do the things go through a quality control machine that looks at them, quote unquote looks at them? Or do they have a human person that looks at every, I don't know, 10th or 100th sprue to come out of the mold? I don't really know how the process works. Now, like I said, this is a different plastic than Games Workshop uses, but it is still plastic, so I think my Citadel plastic glue will do the trick for it. As always, when constructing minis, you want to use as little glue as possible. I don't want like glue oozing out of the seams. So we're going to try and get just a touch glue. Well, that's rather more than I wanted, but that's fine. Just as long as it stays on the inside of the model, I'm okay. Maybe a little on the edges. Okay. I think I'm going to have to go a little faster than this if I want to construct several figures today. There. Nice tight seal. How much do I care that there is a small gap on that shoulder? I don't think I care at all. Hopefully the primer will fill it. Alright, now we get her arms assembled. Looks like each of her arms comes in 2 pieces. There's the forearms, and then there's the upper parts of her arms. Very small scale I'm working on here. There. I have the feeling there's a high probability that I'm going to drop a piece and it's going to disappear forever. I have to be very careful. This is also going to require being careful with the glue. I'm working on this tiny scale. There. Okay. These arm pieces are tricky because they've got a join piece here. I don't want to trim that off because that's going to get inserted. It's a peg that gets inserted into the model to hold the arm on. But I do want it trimmed enough that it'll fit into the slot that it's meant to go into. Oh my goodness. Nothing like something like this make your fingers feel big and stubby. Difficult to hold this tiny piece in such a manner that I can trim it without trimming my fingers. Come on. You know what, maybe I use a file for this. There. Yeah. That'll do. Okay. So, this piece here goes on the left arm here, like so. Okay. Always, always, always do a dry fit before you apply glue so that you know what you're doing. God, so much glue, I don't need that much. I don't see why this had to be two pieces. I see no reason that this arm had to come in two pieces instead of being a single arm piece. There we go. There. Set that aside to dry for a sec. There's a tiny bit of flash here I think I want to trim off. Or maybe sand off. Oh, I made it worse. The glue will also get rid of a little bit of weirdness at the connection point because it actually does melt the plastic slightly. Okay, so this goes like this. Is that even going to fit? Well, we'll see. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to trim a little bit more there. I have the feeling this is not going to fit properly unless I get rid of this extra flash. Okay. Need a smaller application nozzle. Okay. This goes like so. Oh, glue everywhere. Yup, yup, yup. This is where there's a very real danger of gluing the model to yourself. Again, they're just making busy work here. This piece did not need to be two pieces. Is that right? There. I think that's how it's supposed to go. Trying to get the angle of the arm correct. Well, it'll have to do. Alright, that's the arms. Let's find her head. There's her head. Nice of them to put the sprue connection on the bottom and the side and not on her noggin. Always irritating when the sprue is connected to the head right on top, because that's going to be difficult to trim without ruining the shape of the model. Looks pretty good. Just trying to smooth this over a bit here. Alright. So that's pretty obvious. Her head goes right there. Actually, might need to trim the connector a bit. It's not going on as well as I would like it to go. It's actually... Okay, that's fine. I'll just trim this down a little bit. Alright, so far my experience with these models, limited as it is because I've only assembled a teeny piece of one model, is that the joining points are not as precise as I would like. It's going to have a little give, and there's going to be a little gap. Okay, let's put some glue in. So normally I put the glue in the hole. I'm going to try putting the glue on the tab instead. Is my glue freezing up already? Oh God, I need to get through a lot of models. There we go. There is an existing temptation to just start gluing things together randomly and make some collection of weird monstrosities. But that's not my goal for today. Yeah, she should be looking down and to the right slightly. Looks good. let's give her some arms. This is going to go on. Okay. This is a fun, relaxing, rainy day activity. It is raining here, as it has been periodically for the last little while. I did not want. Okay. Okay, it's fine. Let's make sure I'm doing this right. Fist is like this. This is a right hand, so it goes on her right side. Oof, this is tough. There we go. There's the position for it. In you go, arm. Come on. You can do it. Did I? I just ruined her arm. God. This is tough. Okay. And in trying to force the arm into the spot it's supposed to be, I bent her elbow out of shape. There we go. Tweezers. Where's my tweezers? I'm sure glad I bought myself some tweezers. Oh, gracious. All right. Well, chat, I'm going to tell you frankly, these models are not easy to assemble. This is going to take me a little longer than I had anticipated. Like, this arm is not going where I want it to go. I think there's a combination of factors here. I think the plastic is slightly lower quality than what I'm used to with Games Workshop. The tabs that are meant to go into the slots need to be trimmed a little bit more. I mean, you can see here on the back of this arm, there's a significant gap. On the front, it looks fine, because it's under the shoulder pad there. I think I may also, if they are so tiny, I may also need to allow things to dry a little bit more before I move on to the next step. So I'm going to pause on Captain Marvel here. Well, I can build her legs because they're a separate piece. I'm trimming down this insertion piece so that it will fit better. So a combination of the plastic, the design, and the molding process all combine to make these, and the scale. I think they are perhaps a smaller scale than Warhammer, but all are combining to make these quite challenging. I'm going to wait for that arm to dry a little more before I try to attach it, because I don't want to break her elbow while attaching it. So let's do her legs. There's one leg. Here's the other. Oh, it's coming down outside. At least this is going to reduce the heat somewhat. I was hoping I'd be able to get several models done today during this stream, but it's looking like maybe I'll get 2 done over the course of this entire 2-hour stream. Because here we are, it's 10:50, and I haven't even attached Captain Marvel's legs to her. This is considerably more work than I had anticipated. Okay. Okay, that seems to be okay. Let's put her legs together here. And then we'll allow things to dry a little bit before we move on to the next step. And while we're waiting for things to dry, we'll go on to a different character. Okay. I'm going to set her aside for a moment. I really want to build Red Skull, because I think he's going to be probably the most fun to paint out of this whole bunch. So here's Red Skull. Step 1, torso. Try not to trim off any of the actual model itself. In general, when I'm clipping things off of the sprue, I try to leave a little bit of the sprue connection so that I can do precision trimming with my hobby knife and, in this case, with my file. Well, looks pretty good. He's definitely going to end up with a seam in his jacket. I'm putting so much glue in here. I don't need this much glue, but that's fine. I actually want a little bit of glue on the edges because it'll help fill some of that seam, that gap that's going to be down the sides of his jacket here. A little bit of glue scooging out there on the sides. Okay. A little bit of glue on my fingers. That's inevitable. Okay. Step 2 is arms. And again, they've made the arms into 2 pieces. Choice. He's got 2 options, it looks like, for the hand holding the tesseract. They're both the same. That's weird. I don't know why they have 2 hands holding tesseracts when they're both identical, as far as I can tell. All right. Oh, man. This is taking such fine motor skills and precision. Maybe they give you 2 tesseract hands, so if you mess one up, you can do the other. squinting at these pieces so much I'm almost giving myself a headache. I think these are going to be a lot of fun to paint. Boy, is this a lot of work to get to that stage. I mean, I've done mini assembly on stream before, and it's never been quite this challenging. Okay, I've got some pieces now. Let's see how they go together. So the arm with the more prominent elbow is the one that goes to the hand that's connected to the tesseract. And this must be his other arm, his left arm. So let's do the left arm first. Aside to dry. Make sure it's not glued to the paper towel. That looks good. Okay. This arm. Okay. At least on this side, the seam in his elbow is in a fold in his jacket, so it should be less obvious, I hope. I'm going to wait for this to dry before I attach his hand. So while we're waiting for that to dry, let's go back to Carol here. See if we can attach her other arm. We trimmed the attachment point a little bit to try and make it less, ooh, gracious, less difficult to attach it. This goes in like so. There. That went a little better. See if we can attach her legs as well. good. Not happy with this gap right here in her arm, but I don't think there's anything I can do about it. Maybe I can try and plug it with some liquid green stuff. We may try that. We may try and do a little bit of patching. Just the scale here, it's so tiny. And right here needs a little bit of a patch. I wonder if I could somehow scooge some glue in there and let glue fill the gap. It's worth a try. Let me get one of my sculpting tools. I do have my sculpting tools, don't I? Oh, my desk is such a mess. Or maybe I can use my hobby knife. Let's see if I can do this, chat. I'm going to try and get just a little glue on my knife. There, just a little dab of glue, and then I'm going to try and transfer it into this gap in her shoulder. There. And on her elbow here. To try and plug these holes. I don't know if I'm making it better or worse. I'll have to do. All right, for her, the next detail is her sash. That attaches to her hip here. Really go. Like that. Okay, let's just try it. That'll do. Okay. That went well. Not gonna mess with it too much. There. Perfect. Perfect. All right. You dry. Let's get back to work on these arms. I want to attach the tesseract, which goes here. Perfect. Okay, next bit for Carol. Build her base. That sprue is empty. First one down. Okay, so I feel like we've already learned a couple lessons today. One is trim a little bit of extra off of the joining points so that things set smoother. And one is I need to allow things a little extra time to dry before moving on to the next step. So working on multiple models at once is perfectly fine. Because you're going to need to allow one thing to dry and you can go ahead and work on another piece while you're waiting. There's her base. She attaches to it right there. Trying to be delicate here because I don't think her sash is fully dried in. Marvelous. Set that aside. Okay, and I need to find her. Excuse me. her scenic base here. So we've got a number of different bases for characters here. Those are a couple of large ones. There's some city bases. Yada, yada, yada. I don't know if they're specific which one goes to which. The illustration has her attached to one of these bases here that has like a little ditch there. So we'll use that. This is, chat, a pet peeve of mine. Circular bases that are attached to sprues on the side. Because that is never going to be as smooth as the rest of the base. There's always going to be a portion of the base there that is not as smooth. Just by the nature of the way the plastic deforms as you cut it. Even sanding introduces imperfections. That's about as good as I'm going to get it. Do you think she's dry enough to go onto it? Let's try. Hopefully I put enough glue in there that that will set. And that's our first figure done. Second guessing myself, I put the connection for this base on the front, which is how they have it illustrated, but not a fan. Oh well. Let's move back to our buddy Red Skull here. Next steps are find his head and feet. And here, this is what I was talking about, chat. His head is attached to the sprue right at the top of his noggin. Don't like when they do that, chat. He's got his two little tootsies. And that's it for his sprue. There's another cube there. I don't know why. It's a mystery. But his sprue goes in the trash. I think I trimmed that pretty well. On top of his head. We're going to sand down the connection bit here a little bit to get a smoother fit. because like I said, that's one of the lessons we've learned today. Same for his feet. And then we're going to try to glue all these pieces together here and make a complete Red Skull mini. Oh, my back. Oh, oh, oh. Let's start with his feet. I want to make sure I'm putting the right feet on the right sides. And facing the right direction. I think I got it. I'm just going to sort of scoop away some of this extra glue. I went a little overboard with the glue here, but I don't care because it's going to be on the bottom side of the model where few people will ever see it. All right, so does that look right? I think I got his left foot on the left side, his right foot on the right side. Let's see if we can attach his arms. Go in. Oh my goodness. There we go. Excellent. He's coming together a lot faster and easier. Partially because we learned some lessons. Maybe he's a slightly easier model to assemble. Looking good. No! It's okay, chat. Everything's fine. All right, on this one, I'm going to put this sprue join point here on the back because I can. There. That's 2 figures assembled. Avengers. I wish I could play some copyrighted music. Have the Avengers theme going on right now. Alright, let's do Spidey. He looks like fun. Not really, but yeah. At least his arms don't come in 2 pieces. There he is. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Does whatever Spider can. Start with his torso. Cool. I do have the Miles Morales Spider-Man figure, which I will do as a separate build. Well, a lot of contact points here. Okay. Some glue on my hand. I don't need that. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Marvelous. Then step 2, all his limbs. Just stick all of limbs on. So let's find them all. Here's a little Spidey head. His arm in classic Spidey thwip position. I've got 2 Spidey heads. Why do I have 2 Spidey heads? Is there any difference between them? No. What's going on here, Atomic Mass? Got 2 Spidey heads. I've got 2 Tesseracts. It's just like, we've got extra space on the sprue. Let's have an extra exact duplicate of another piece. Like if it was an alternative Spidey head and I had to make a choice which one I used, that's one thing. But why two identical Spidey heads? Like, are the eyes different? Does one have squinty eyes and one has wide open eyes? No. They look identical to me. Meh. So I think with these figures, I may want to err on the side of having too much glue, because having glue oozing out of the seam seems preferable to having gaps in the model. I mean, obviously I'd rather that there were no gaps and that the model just fit miraculously perfectly together, but that doesn't seem plausible. So having a little bit of extra glue to fill those gaps might be the better way to go. I'm sort of thinking through my process here. That's all Spidey limbs. Trimmed down, ready to be attached. Okay. Here we go. Just apply directly to model, apparently. This is his whipping arm. Oh man, this is going to be tough, chat. This is going to be real damn tough. Okay. The peg that is supposed to insert into the hole is far too large. Which way is his arm supposed to be pointing? I think it's supposed to be like this. This is tough. I'm doing the right arm on the right side, right? This is his right arm. Yep. On the right side of his torso. This should, in theory, this peg should go in this hole. There, like that. Okay, cool. Okay. Spidey doesn't have a sidearm. Excellent. Perfect. His arm there. Let's give him a head, why not? I could give him 2 heads if I wanted. I suppose I could keep a Spidey head to just leave on Doc Ock's base. There. Time for legs. Yeah, I decapitated him. I was trying to attach his leg and his head popped off. Heck, nabbit. This is his right leg. Yeah, left leg. That is the correct leg, which is his left leg. I should have put his head on last. There. Legs attached. Now let's see if we can get his head back on there. His head fell onto my dirty mat and picked up some sprue dust. Don't want that set in the glue if I can avoid it. Well, kind of looks like a Spider-Man. Get rid of some of this extra glue here. His crotchological area. Man, did I make a mess with his head here. Look at all this hair on his neck. Okay. Now, let's work on his base. Well, I think Spidey came together pretty quickly. aside from the involuntary decapitation. I'm going to throw out this sprue with the spare Spidey head. I know I could keep the spare Spidey head and use it for something, but no. Cool. There's a little piece of iron girder sticking up out of the ground here. Chat, this is going to bug me. There's injection mold points on the back of this iron girder. I don't know if that helped. I don't know that that even matters because this is probably going to be facing down at the ground. Whatever. So this iron girder goes onto this base like, yaw, right there. I am Bender. Please insert girder. There we go. And then Spidey attaches to the girder like so. 1 foot here, 1 foot actually on the girder. I realize Spidey doesn't need super glue to stick to stuff, but I'm just giving him a little helping hand here. This is the Zen part of model building. Holding things in places and just counting while things are set. There. Fantastic. Grab him a base to stick to. I don't think it matters what base you put them on, as long as the scale is correct, but I'm trying to match the illustration for my own peace of mind. I contemplated painting the bases separate from the minis, I am an essentially lazy person, and that seems like extra work. Alright, so we're going to put this piece here, where I've done this sanding and stuff, at the back of the model. Not at the front like I did with Captain Marvel. Well, chat, Spidey came along a lot faster than the last ones. I feel like I'm getting better at this as I go. Do we attempt to build a fourth one today? Do you think we need one more? We've got 3. Let's see who's next in the instruction booklet. Oh, Doc Ock. That's going to be a bigger project. We've got Black Widow and Iron Man. Baron Zemo. Oh, he's annoying. He's got shoulder pads. Ultron. Ultron has 2 pages. And then we've got Car, Daily Bugle, Lamppost, Dumpster, Traffic Light. Oh, and Cap. I think I'm going to call it early today. I think I'm going to call it there. We constructed 3 figures, and we'll try to get those 3 figures painted next week. And we'll move on to more figures the week after that. How does that sound, chat? We gotta start. And I think 3 figures a week is a reasonable amount of painting to do. Like, I don't want to make promises that I can't keep. And doing more than 3 figures feels like a lot. So I'm going to start putting stuff away. Let's look at our 3 little peoples that we made. I'll make sure that I properly seal my glue so that it doesn't dry out. There. Excellent. Build more figures next week. So my goal then is to take these 3 into the store and get them primed at some point this weekend. Maybe not today because it's so damp, and priming when it's damp out is never a good idea. But we've got Spidey here, ready to go. Not super happy with this, what's going on here at his neck, but it is what it is. We've got Captain Marvel. She's looking okay. This gap right there. I might try and fill that before priming her. I don't like that at all. But other than that, she's alright. And we've got Red Skull. He's looking pretty good. He's going to be a joy to paint. I'm really looking forward to painting him. We're going to do some light sourcing on the cube. Yeah. He's going to be fun. Where did I just put my tweezers? stuff stuck to his face. Red Skull's not supposed to have hair. Okay. Well, chat, thank you for joining me on the beginning of this adventure. And it's going to be a lot of fun to paint these itty-bitty Marvel characters. I'm looking forward to it. So I will see you folks perhaps in Amanda's stream this evening at 10 p.m. when she will be reading some more of Swallowdale. We'll see what happens as Roger and Titty get to introduce folks to the new hidden valley and cave that they have discovered. So that's at 10 p.m. on twitch.tv/merrimanlion. And then I will be back perhaps on Sunday to start working on base coats. Maybe on Sunday I'll work on assembling more minis. So I may be back on Sunday here on twitch.tv/Thanatos at 10 a.m. I certainly will be back next Monday at 10 a.m. to start painting these folks. So thanks for joining me. I hope everybody had fun watching me struggle with assembling these. And I look forward to doing more in this vein. In the meantime, be excellent to each other and enjoy whatever art it is you choose to do. See you later, everybody.